Mike.
Yeah, not Mike, it's Gail. Oh, there I am. I tried to launch my Zoom and I don't know.
Whatever. Mike,
I
how
oh,
you doing? Oh, look at
how
this
do I change the screen? What do I do that? View?
under settings and screen, but that looks good. You got a nice little background there. It's a little blurry. It's like 2 a.m. after a show.
It's 2 a.m. I must be blurry. Hang on, let's see. Hang on. I gotta be able to do this. Well, I gotta do this. We gotta go to
There's this lovely thing called ChatGPT, Mike. I swear to God, you're gonna love it.
sounds very, very advanced. I don't see the mute, stop video, participants, chat, share screen, record, reactions. Reactions. I can do those.
Hey, that's nice. We need a few more of those.
Ah, now I got a hand raised. Damn it.
Yeah, here, I'll take care of that.
Get rid of that. Lower
Mike,
hand.
Mike, you're fine. You're going to strain yourself. We've had a rough few days, man. How was it Saturday in the heat? Catch me up on your shows, man.
Well, Saturday was hot. No doubt about it. That was
Two
a
2:30 in the afternoon, Broken Oar.
Yeah, and I think it even kind of killed the crowd a little bit. I think a lot of people stayed away because they knew that it was going to be a hot one. I mean, yeah, you're by the water, but if you're not in a boat, it's pretty hot.
Yeah.
Um, and then we did have a little bit of a sun shower come through at about 5 for about maybe 10, 15 minutes. Winds
Yeah.
kicked up, and boy, did it get humid after that. I mean, that's when it really blazed up. But it's a 3 hour show. I mean, it's a grind either way. I mean, if I was playing in an air conditioned
Yeah.
facility, 3 hours is 3 hours. You get to hour
Do you get,
number three, and you're pushing yourself to
yeah.
the best you
Do
can and not cramp up, and you know,
do you
but it
get
was
do you
good.
get a break during that or just between
Yeah.
songs or whatever?
Yeah, no, we took a half-hour break. We went
Okay.
2:30 to 4, 4:30 to 6. I mean, not too bad. I mean, no complaints. I love the Broken Oar. The sound guy had us dialed in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all overall it was we played well. Like I said, it's a 3 hour show, so you had ups and downs, you got lulls, you got times that we were doing a slower song, which we have to do, and then
Right.
there were times we were rocking out. But all the fans that came out that day, I'm going to commend them because not only did you come out in the blazing heat, but you stayed for pretty much the entire day. And even if you stayed for one set, an hour and a half in that weather was a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So a big, huge thank you to all the fans that came out because that was awesome. And
Well, we
how
were
was yours?
we were in Rockford
Yeah,
and
yesterday.
yesterday, yeah. Oh my God, 6 p.m. show. It said like 12% chance of rain. I'm like, all right. And God, it was humid as hell. We
Yeah,
lucked out on the temperature. It was supposed to be 92, but it was, in the 80s. But then the humidity went up to around 80%.
yeah.
And then we got cut short 30 minutes, man. It just started pouring
Yeah.
and felt
That's what
bad. We were
Jeff
at
said.
the Clem Arboretum out in Rockford. Beautiful place.
It's
We
like
were,
a gazebo, right?
yeah, trees, flowers. I wouldn't say a gazebo. It's a cross between, oh man, it's a really good place for a wedding. I'll tell you that.
I'm sure they have them there.
Yeah, they do. Shout out
Yeah.
to Alex and Tim for putting us out there. And sorry about the rain. I mean, if we could have seen it coming, but oh man. And your cousin did the sound, Eli, man. Great job,
Yeah.
Eli and Glenn.
Yeah, Eli and Glenn running sound. He was nervous, he was very nervous about how if he had enough juice to to project the
Hello,
sound
Morgan
out
and
to a big area.
Matilda.
So I mean, how was it? Did it sound good?
It sounded
Thank you for
great. They
coming
did a
out to
great
the Voice
job,
of the
and
Summer's Wood Song
you know, it's an arboretum, so there, you know, there a bunch of people with their, it's like a mini Ravinia, but with cool people, you know.
Damn you, Ravinia! Damn
Yeah.
you!
This is all made possible thanks
Damn
to our
you,
presenting
brie-eating,
sponsors, the Power
wine
Yeah,
Connection,
yeah,
partnership between
yeah.
IBW
Well, they had
and
cheese out in Rockford, but
They
it was
do
like
great
American
together, and we're
cheese.
so happy to have them
Right.
helping us put
That's
this
the
on.
kind of cheese. You don't
The
want
sponsors of the Benning
this
Group are
fancy
CPA
cheese.
firms,
Brie.
Iverson
Yeah,
Painting,
nothing that I have
Carlsen and
to
Darby, and JJ
serve on a
LLC, local
fancy
Well,
practice.
cooker.
Our media
if you can't
sponsors,
spell it or
WREX 13
pronounce
this
it,
year,
why
helping
you
get
want
the
to eat
word
it?
out.
Forget
And
it.
help get the word out too. This
Well,
place
good.
is
I'm glad it
beautiful.
was.
Thanks to our
I'm glad it
staff
went
and our
well. I know
volunteers. We couldn't do it without them.
we're in talks
And
with
you've
you
heard enough
guys
from
to
me,
do
right?
something
You guys ready
hopefully
to
in the fall. I know we're
here's some
looking at a
stuff?
date
Here's some
and
good stuff,
I'm
you know?
waiting.
All
I'm
right.
waiting to hear back.
Heart of glass.
So
I heard something mid-October. We'll see.
mid-November.
Oh,
Yeah.
November.
Yeah.
You're
The
right. You're right.
15th, I think, is what we're
Yeah.
looking at. So once I get confirmation from the
Oh, don't
HOG
worry. We'll put it right here once we get it.
right here. Why am I blurry? I tried wiping this damn thing down. Why?
No,
Why
you're fine, Mike. It's the humidity.
not? I'm always blurry and blotchy, and I mean, I kind of like it, but I kind of would like it not to be.
No, you're fine. So Joey DeMarco, he says he's going to come on the show. He's the one that's putting this thing together. We'd like to have him come on here. He can just call in. You know, said he would.
I talked to him on Friday. It didn't sound like he was going to come on.
Oh, as long as there's not video.
I don't think it's even video. I just think, I don't know. He was reluctant. We talked about it.
Yeah,
but
he's a low key guy, I know.
he's a low key guy. I don't think he wants to be put on the spot. I think if you put him on the spot, you don't want to get too candid, I guess. I don't know. Who knows? He might. He might. Yeah. Never say never.
That's what he said. That's exactly what he said. Never say never.
Really? Yeah. See, I think he said the same thing to me. Now, Chris Rhodes, waiting on Chris Rhodes.
Drummer, I hear.
He is a drummer. He is a jack of all trades, and we will get a
Here is Rhodesy.
Here he is. Let's see what he looks like. I wonder if he's in his drum room. Rhodesy. He's connecting to audio.
That's a cool name, Rhodesy.
Totally. There he is.
What up, Rhodesy?
Rhodesy.
How's that?
There he is.
Rhodesy.
Rhodesy. Well, I'm going to do the introduction here since I think I know this guy. So Chris Rhodes and we met while doing the coterie. And he is a very good drummer, excellent drummer, I might say. And he's been in a ton of bands. And I thought, you know what? Let's get a guy on who, is kind of this renegade drummer. He plays with lots of different bands. Chris Rhodes will go through and name them all for us, but we know he was a one-time member of Melancholy.
What I can remember, yeah.
You can remember him.
I don't know. I think I was carrying about 250 songs last summer.
That's quite the inventory.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. And it's all for one show. But before I start complaining about stuff like that, you guys are both really lucky to play with my good friend and one of my favorite drummers, Jeff Fite.
Oh yeah.
So you guys are extremely lucky to get to watch that guy play every gig.
Yeah.
Oh, I love to hear his opinions on anything.
Yeah. So Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know if you had a chance to meet Pete over here in the corner. He is the guru of this podcast. He runs it. He does all the links. He does the editing. He'll put all kinds of pictures up here, and when it's all done, it won't just be the three of us looking at each other. It'll be graphics. So
sweet.
Yeah.
No, nice to meet you, Pete.
Hey, Rhodesy, man. Nice set.
It's one of those nicknames that stuck. It's sort of like, I got to give all the mics that I know. I think I know 100 mics. And they all seem to play an instrument. I think we should just start a band, call it Mike.
The Mics. MIC Apostrophe S. The
Yeah,
mic.
exactly.
KUI, MOUSE.
Yeah, I've never done anything like this, so I apologize if I'm a little awkward.
Well, don't worry, we're awkward all the time.
And
Rhodesy.
we're not professional here. You know, you want to drop an F-bomb? Drop an F-bomb.
Go ahead.
You want to throw someone under the bus? Throw them under the bus.
Well, I'm not going to do that, but I do have a potty mouth, so I may occasionally let an F word or
you're in the right spot.
Yeah.
Fucking A.
Think of it like this, Rhodesy. Think of it as like you, me, and Pete. We met in a bar and we know each other and we're having a beer and we're just chit-chatting. That's it.
Yeah. No, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like
that's
how
cool.
the hell do you guys play in the heat?
Fans, that's about all we can do. Some of those fans that they use, like you can get at Menards or Home Depot or something that people put in their basements when they flood. Those seem to be really popular amongst all of the drummers that I know. So sometimes we show up with those big white fans that you can get for like $10.
Yeah.
Just anything that can blow your way. I will say that, with, a couple of the bands with all the rain and all the storms and all that stuff going on, I can't imagine having my equipment out on Blarney Island and have that storm roll through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you do? Because that happened to us yesterday. We had a very little, shelter over us. And I'm like, oh man, my $1,000 amp, I better move that, in. And then Mike's cousin Eli, who's doing sound for us, he's out there, no cover, no nothing, and running to get the tarp. What do you do?
Yeah, what can you do?
It's all you can do. That's nothing you can do. And if you're on Blarney's Island, you're literally screwed. I mean, if you have hard shell cases, for drums, for instance, you're safe. But on your amp, Pete, what are you going to do with your amp? Do you have the
first thing is you guys are more experienced than I am. I'm just figuring it out. I'm an overglorified video editor. Okay. I'm root note Pete on the bass. Okay. Jeff Fite yells at me all the time. But
you're playing Blondie. That's not easy.
Oh my God. Even Jeff says playing an hour of that is like doing 3 hours of the Mosquitos. But when it started raining, you'd see the fans out there. It was like we're out in Clem Arboretum out in Rockford. Very nice place, flowers, trees. Again, there's like a mini Ravinia with cool people instead of stuck up people.
Damn you, Ravinia!
Damn you, Ravinia!
Damn Highland Park!
Yeah, Highland Park. Yeah. And it started, raining a little bit, and the crowd was sticking it out, and then a little bit more rain. They were sticking it out, and then lightning. And, but we're like, nobody told us to get off. So I'm like, hey, man, these guys paid for 2 hours. We're 90 minutes in. What do you do? And but I think lightning is like that's where you just draw the line, right? Have you experienced that, or what's the etiquette on that? I don't know. I'm asking both.
That's the party's over.
So lightning, that's it, and then what do you do for the venue? I mean, they paid for it. You give them make good the next time around, or like what's the depends on the relationship.
Yeah, it depends. There's probably a lot of different factors involved in that. But like I said, how much of your show did you get through? Sometimes, when you're working with a booking agent, I have seen over the years, and again, I've been away from the booking side. Mike probably answer this better than I could, but sometimes they have provisions in there for like weather, rainouts and stuff. Like you'll still get like paid X amount of dollars and all that stuff if they cancel on you, all that.
Yep. Yeah, like for instance, I was sitting in with Soundtracks of a Generation at the beginning of June, and we had a gig out at Navy Pier, and it's got, a little bit of a shelter there. And it started drizzling at first, and they kind of said, hold on, don't put any of your instruments on stage. And, it's not covered on the sides, and not on the back either. And it's coming down, but then it starts blowing. Now it's coming into the stage. Then it lets up a little bit. Then we put the instruments on the stage. And lo and behold, we were supposed to go on at 5:30, and by 6:25, they called it. They said, you're done. And according to the provisions of the contract, we still get paid full pay, you know.
Yeah,
So
it's the way it should be.
yeah, I mean,
It's not your fault. It's not their fault.
yeah. And now if you don't show up, that is one of the things. If let's say I looked out and I said, you know what, it's going to rain today. I know that I looked at the Doppler. There's going to be a
Right.
huge rain cloud right over the stage when our set is. I'm not going to go. You won't get paid. So
Yeah.
you have to show up. So, you know,
Yeah.
the entire 10-piece band showed up. We all brought our equipment to the area where the holding area. And myself and the drummer and the keyboard player were the ones who set up first. And once the rain started coming down, the guy gave us a tarp. We tarped everything off. And, you know, it was just a no-win situation. You know, our set
Yeah.
was going to be done at 7:30. What are we doing, you know?
Yeah, true story. That just happened to me, you know, not really being in a band and, you know, kind of taking backup gigs here and there when they come along. You know, I learned basically 2 hours of music at a show out in Roselle the weekend before I played with you guys, Mike.
Yep.
And they should have, you know, and again, shame on the festival people. They should have called that, you know, 3 or 4 hours before. I mean, take a look at the weather radar. You know what I mean? You don't have to be a weatherman to figure out that it's just going to keep raining.
Yeah, it was
So,
coming down all day that day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, I loaded up on my car, you know, Mike, you know what I'm saying? Bass players, okay, your stuff's heavy too, but drummers, we have a lot of stuff, as you've seen with Mike and, you know, and Jeff. So, you know, to load that all into my little car and then, you know, to drive down there just going in the pouring rain, I might add.
Yeah.
Just going, there's no way we're playing this gig. Why am I even headed here?
Yeah.
So
how do you get help, Rhodesy?
You know what? Actually, it's you know what I always say. I'm the first one in, with the exception of the sound guy. Sometimes I beat the sound guy. It just depends on who it is. But I try to be the first one in, and usually I'm the last one out because it is almost impossible to unload a drum set with all you guys on stage.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, then you guys start yapping at somebody, and then, you know, you're standing there wire and you're, you know, spinning your cables up really, really slow as you're talking to somebody. Booze becomes a factor, you know, sometimes. So usually I'm the last one out as well, usually. Just as easier that way.
I mean, I try to get some help, you know, because, you know, we've done some headlines, but we're usually like the middle band, and it's like, all right, get on really fast, get off really fast. Oh my God, what did I forget on stage? And it's a cluster F.
Fire drill.
Yeah. And
you know,
even trying to get help for Jeff, it's just there's no easy way to do it, you know.
You know, I will say when I go to see the Mosquitos, I haven't come to see you guys yet. I'm working on that. But you know, I think I'll help Jeff. You know, there's a nice band of brothers in kind of this drummer circle up here in the area. I mean, you know, my friend Jim Hart and Dan Dillon, you know, we all help one another carry stuff around. If we're still there at close, you know, we'll ask one another, you know, do you need any help with anything? And, you know, sometimes we'll, you know, it just depends on how we feel and what kind of hurry we're in, I guess.
Right. Chris Rhodes helped me last year on one of the more stressful days. I sat in at like 1 PM with an acoustic duo at the 56 Music Fix, my friend's Acoustic City. I sat in with them, and then I came home, I showered, loaded all my stuff up for the Black Diamond sessions, went and played Sundance Saloon, and I told Chris, I said, I can't stick around because I got tickets to see Josh Stone at the Des Plaines Theater. And Chris Rhodes helped me load all that stuff into my car, and then I had to leave. I couldn't even buy the guy a beer. I'm like, I got to go. And I literally walked into the Des Plaines Theater, and she was just walking on at that point.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh, yeah.
That's what friends are for, you know, where it's, you know, like I said, it's, you know, I say all the time, I am so lucky to be surrounded by, you know, and to call them my friends, some of the best drummers, you know, Wolfgang Paul, Mike Gerbitz, you know, Pete Durbin and so on, and Greg Rapp. I mean, Jeff. I mean, there are so many great players around here that, it's amazing. And we all help one another. We all talk. My friend Jim Hart and I, we've been talking about Ask Gerbitz. He's kind of that guy that we all go to. Hey, Jet, if you're listening, you need to make a shirt for that, like my Blame Gallus shirt that I have. So I want Blame Gallus and Ask Gerbitz on the back.
So we're talking inside baseball here for the people that just tripped over the internet and fell into this podcast. What are some of these bands that these drummers are in?
So basically you would know, see everybody's name, Mike. So we'll just start with Mike Gallus. He owns the drum shop down in Villa Park. Definitely go check out his store.
Okay.
Kind of throw him a plug. He plays with a band called Ara. Mike Gerbitz, who is, Mike is Mike. He is like a bow to Mike. He plays with a band called Anthem, and he does the LP vinyl, or not LP vinyl, the LP Escape, and the LP, the Lounge Puppets guys. I mean, I can go on for days with all the different players. I mean, there are literally a ton of them.
Well, if you name them, then they'll watch the show, and then we'll get more viewers. So if it comes to you, Rhodesy,
we'll put their pictures up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my friend Jim Hart, I always tell Jim he's probably one of my favorite drummers. I love Jim, to watch him play. Brings a lot of enthusiasm, and he's solid. He plays in a band called Millhouse. So, I mean, if I was going to promote somebody, I definitely want to, promote his band Millhouse. They're great. They're doing a bunch of songs that, most bands don't play, and
they're
really good. Yeah.
Great
really,
set list. Yeah.
What kind of music?
Classic rock.
Yeah,
Okay.
classic rock. Yeah.
Okay. So, Rhodesy, your 250 song inventory, what do you like to play the most? Moby Dick.
I have this strange love-hate relationship with country music. Like, if I'm driving down the road, I'm pretty much metal to the bone. I like Pantera and all the heavy stuff. And then, but the country music, for some reason, when I'm playing drums and I'm looking out in the audience, I can't help but see how the crowd reacts to the country music. I mean, they want to come out, they want to have a good time, they want to drink, they want to dance, and promoters love that. I mean, Bella Kane's been doing that for, I don't know, forever, it seems now.
I'm actually partial to the women that wear the Daisy Duke, jean shorts, the cutoffs, and with the cowboy boots, and some kind of a like crop top with the a cowboy hat.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I would say that I learned to love to play country. Like, I always say it's rock with a twang. When you really break down like Jason Aldean or some of these other guys, I mean, literally is a rock song with a singer that's got a little twang in his voice. That's really.
You played a pretty cool gig last year out at the airport, the Strip there. You played with a country band. Tell us a little bit about that gig. That was a big one.
The Rock the Runway show at the Chicago Executive Airport.
Yep.
I was playing with some guys, Doug Schoenbeck in particular.
Doug.
Jesus.
Doug? Jesus.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's a guitar Jesus is what he is. Guy's amazing. I basically, it was strange. We were having a conversation at Sundance, and he goes, "How do you feel about country music?" And I said, "Sure, why not?" And he goes, "Do you know any?" And I said, "Well, I know a little bit." So he hired me for that show, and we opened up for Rock Brigade, which those guys are great as well. Again, we're lucky to be in this music scene. There are so many great musicians in bands. But
that's Gone Country, right?
Gone Country, correct.
Yeah.
Rob Weiss and Doug. The singer, I can't remember his name. He came in from California. And then Bobby Rebel, who plays in Wildfire, he played bass on that at that show.
They're getting a lot of casino gigs. Is there anything special about a casino gig other than that they guarantee payment?
What do you mean as far as Wildfire or?
Oh no, I'm just saying, Gone Country. They
Oh,
play a lot of casinos, and I've heard casinos are good venues to play for.
oh,
Uh, e
well,
Easy to set up. They pay. What are the thoughts on that from a guy who hasn't played a casino?
I would say casinos are probably like what it's basically when you're up there and you're doing it, it's probably fantastic. I really can't speak to that because I haven't played a casino, but the one war story that I have heard is, security, getting your equipment in, getting your equipment out. And sometimes you have to play and then you have to take a break for like 2-3 hours and then you have to come back and play again.
Yeah, we did it. We did it a couple years ago. We booked it, not Horseshoe, but the one that's just beyond Horseshoe in Indiana.
Yeah.
And he's 100% right. We had to get clearance, and then we had to get these carts, and we had to cart all our equipment through the casino because the where the lounge was in the middle of the casino. The beauty of it was we had a built-in audience. There never once wasn't people in there, enjoying the music, talking, drinking, hanging out, dancing. But
Yeah.
getting in and out was really kind of a pain in the ass, really. I mean,
Making sure you don't have any coins.
yeah, oh yeah, they're watching you. They have
Chips.
someone escort you. Yeah. Yeah, because you're back by the security. You walk back where the security is. There's all the cameras. There's guys, in those booths watching people, and you're just carting your stuff to the middle of the, again, that particular place didn't have a great load in. It was, when we got there, they told us you're going to have to stage your equipment in one spot. We're going to give you carts. You'll be escorted by someone on each trip. And when you're hauling like drums and percussion, it's a couple different.
Yeah, they want to make sure you don't Ocean 11 them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Run a scheme to rob them blind,
It paid well though. I remember that it paid well, and we didn't have a big gap. I think they made us do like 3 1-hour sets or something like that with like 15-minute breaks. But it was really a fun gig. Outside of the load in and the load out, that took some time.
Our friend. Yeah, go ahead. I'm
Rosie,
sorry.
why don't we just have house drums everywhere? You just bring your cymbals. Would that work?
Yes and no. I mean, when I played with the Mosquitos a few weeks ago, I actually used Chris Stamos kit. I guess I brought a few things so that way I didn't put any damage or risk breaking his snare head or anything like that. Not that I'm a hammer. But, open jams are that way. We do something called the Dischord Jam. I don't know if you're familiar with this at the
Tell
Sundance.
us about that.
Yeah. So basically what Sam, Ron, Jet, and C-Bob, Chris Babowski, what they basically have set up is it's an open jam, and they create a theme. Like we've done disco. This last time we did something that was like anybody that played at either Woodstock, throughout the years, the different Woodstocks or Ozfest. So basically what they do is they create a worksheet. They post it. You can check them out on Facebook. You click on the worksheet and then you sign up for whatever it is you want to play. And then if other players, guitar players, keyboard players, vocalists, the whole 9 yards. I think we had horns one time. I think that we might have, Mike. I don't remember, but
I thought we did have one horn, right?
Yeah. And it's basically like all different area musicians, bass players that maybe maybe you don't know, and so on and so on, guitar players, drummers, etc. It's a really nice place for all of us to kind of come together. And then we just jam. It's funny to me. I always say it's one of those open jams we practice for. It's kind of funny. Like, you're worried about some of the people that are in this crowd. I mean, it's sort of like, it's a lot of good players show up and do this.
Yeah, it's your peers.
Yeah.
You want to show out well. You don't want to get up there and shit the bed.
Yeah.
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 Like what venue, Mike?
Well, they do it. It's all done at Sundance.
All at
Mhm.
Sundance, Bobby
It's like
Carlsen.
every
Yeah.
6 weeks.
Place. Yeah.
He does it like on a Thursday, so he doesn't, mess with, the stuff that happens on the weekends, and it stays away from the country stuff that he does on Wednesdays. And it's a great networking. I mean, it's not even if you don't go to play, just to go there and network and you're talking to people and, you know, I enjoy it. I missed the last one. I was practicing for that Soundtracks of a Generation, so I missed it. A couple people reached out to me like, "Hey, how come you didn't put your name on everybody in our way? like, how come you're not on the Santana too?" And I'm like, "I'm not gonna be there, you know."
That's poor Mike. Everybody expects Mike just to show up and just do his thing. Everybody that I know, hey, we'll call up Mike.
He does.
He gets more work than anybody I know.
I'm a
But it's-
specialist.
But Mike and Rhodesy, as a rookie to this, I mean, it's open venue time. It's once a week, twice a week, man. That's a grind. It's almost like you got to practice outside versus practicing inside, so you're ready for the weather. Do you guys do that? I don't know how you would do it with the drums. And then the other thing is with this humidity, your shit goes out of tune like immediately.
Oh,
Yeah. I can say that in my heyday, as I'm getting older here, I'm getting further and further away from my 20s and my 30s. But I know I was in a couple bands back in the day. We were probably playing not quite like Seventh Heaven, but we were probably doing close to 12, 14 shows a month, especially in the summertime. I mean, you'd play Sunday night, you'd play, Wednesday somewhere, Thursday somewhere, Friday somewhere, Saturday somewhere, and just working our way through all the festivals, and then one band in particular, Chasing Amy, we would go up and play in Algoma, Wisconsin, which if you don't know where Algoma is, it's kind of on the thumb of Wisconsin. Yeah. Oh, you know where it's at?
no.
No, not at all.
That was just a visual.
That was just
Yeah, there's no way you can really prepare for it. I mean, by 5 o'clock on Saturday afternoon at the Broken Oar, I could feel that my conga heads were kind of just didn't sound as crisp and punchy. And I got synthetic heads. That's one of the things, Chris, I think you asked me that one time, was I switched out all my heads to synthetic heads on the congas and the bongos, just for that very reason, because humidity messes with them so much. You'd literally be turning that wrench after each song to try and keep the thing in tune. And since I got the synthetic heads, it's helped a lot. But when something's sitting out there for 4 hours or 5 hours, it's gonna mess with the what that sound is like. It's not a temperature controlled environment.
Well, like I said, for the drummers, it's sort of like, for instance, when we did the show at Greek Fest, I kept tweaking the snare a little bit because it was just kind of that moisture in the air kind of thing. But the toms and stuff, those are really hard to tune as you're going, because you don't want to stop the show to start boom, 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 running through all the toms. You don't want to do that. Everybody's going to look at you and think you're crazy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the toms are really tough. And I don't know, maybe if you got your snare dialed in, I would say maybe just stick to rolling on the snare instead of rolling through the kit if it gets like way out of whack.
Rhodesy, how'd you get into drumming? Why'd you pick the drums? Were you into something else?
True story. I actually told this to someone the other day. Growing up as a kid, I wanted to be Ace Frehley. I wanted to be a guitar player like nobody's business. And just happened that in my grade school, we had a couple guitar player guys, which Joe Guevara is one of those guys. He's the lead guitar player for Rock Brigade, plays on the other side of Marty. And, we grew up together and everybody was playing guitar and bass, and no, we didn't have a drummer. Nobody played drums. Well, my dad was a musician, played it throughout the 60s, 70s, and 80s, you know, into the 90s, basically around the local club scene. And his drummer had a kit there. True story. I got grounded for playing that drum set. I kid you not. But I just basically told the guys that I was with them, said, you know, I'll play drums. And, you know, I think I was 10, right around 10. Yeah.
So guitar, did you ever have a guitar, or it was just always drums?
It was basically, well, I had kind of a, I don't know, you know, like one of those J.C. Penney catalog
Yeah,
guitars. You know what I'm saying? I think it was before Court was kind of cool. I think Court had a run of being cool there for a little bit. But yeah, it was just a terrible guitar. You know, being a little kid, you know, you didn't have like a full blown Strat or BC Rich at the time. I think that's really what I wanted, was a BC Rich. But
Did your old man teach you, or you took lessons? Like,
you know, there was a music store in Crystal Lake I used to go to when I was a little kid. The Players Bench, which unfortunately is no longer open anymore. You know, real basic stuff, kind of, you know, that 300-page book of snare drum rudiments. I think Mike might know what I'm talking about. It's just paradiddles and double stroke, 6-stroke rolls, all of that stuff. And you know, really lessons wasn't for me. I was fortunate enough later in my late teens that I got hooked up with a guy that really kind of made teaching for me somewhat fun, because it was more practical. It's kind of like what what School of Rock is now. It seems like School of Rock is more focused on the live performances for these kids, more so than just sitting in a room going 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, you know, counting bars. So you know, that's kind of what it was like. So I really globbed onto that, and really helped me a lot. And the worst part about it was my drum teacher was our sound guy when I started playing in my dad's band as a kid.
was he any good?
So you went from learning the drums, and then you actually taught drums.
I taught drums in my early 20s, music store in Cary, which has, you know, was bought by Buddy Weigelman, who owns Dr. Woods. And then he moved the store from Cary out to, was that Fox River Grove, where his shop is. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I will say, unfortunately, sorry, Buddy, but after teaching at New World Music for a little while and having kids that were just being dropped off for babysitting and that kind of thing, I think somebody else I saw mention that about, you know, teaching. It's really tough when the parents don't really care if the kid's learning anything or, you know, this or that. I had a heart-to-heart with the parents. I said, I feel bad because, you know, he's not working on the stuff. He's not putting in the time. And they said, oh, we don't care. He's, you know, we've got something going on and we just need to drop him off. I was like, my last lesson.
I'm not a music teacher at all, but I do believe it's also the future of education. If you put them into groups and have them learn a project or a song, that's where School of Rock, I think, does well, because they don't want to let the team down, and then they practice more than if they do as an individual. I think that's where School of Rock has that little sweet spot in there. Even if you just do the adult band, you practice because, oh man, I don't want to, you know, shit the bed.
That's something to work for. It's a show, you know.
Yeah.
They put these kids. First time I saw it, I knew what it was. First time I ever saw it, they played at the Naperville Rib Fest on the main stage, and I'm like, School of Rock, and these kids were great. They were tearing up Deep Purple and Black Sabbath, and me and my brother were floored. I'm like, this is like a 13-year-old girl on guitar that was just, you know, I mean, it's so, and of course, you know, they get the, you know, the confirmation and the, you know, the applause from the audience. You could just see these kids were loving it. And I thought, what a great idea. What a way to, you know, motivate them.
Yeah, you know, I saw Weezer a bunch of years ago at the Aragon, and the School of Rock, I forget which School of Rock it was, but they opened up for Weezer. And I'm thinking to myself, how cool is that to open for Weezer. I would probably be crapping my pants on stage, just being honest.
Huh. Yeah. I mean, think about that. I mean, obviously the Naperville Rib Fest had a huge stage, but these guys are playing on a lot of these festival stages. Maybe not something that large, but even if you're on, the stage at, whatever, Skokie Backlot Bash, and you got
Yeah.
an audience, even if it's not packed, you still got maybe 100 people watching you. You're on the spot. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
bad note, missed drum fill, some bad vocals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be shitting bricks if I was up there.
But I think it saves us all from these people that whip out their laptops and do garage band and said, okay, here's my music. You know, there's a difference going up on stage than opening up that laptop, right?
Well, let me ask you this question, and there's been a couple of opportunities for me for an original project, and I just, I think back to the old days of when we were, younger, and it was sort of like you needed to get a band together, and then you needed to hit the road, and you had this thought of doing like a college tour, or just hoping that somebody would pick you up on a small indie label or whatever. And now, and guys, tell me what you think. I think today it's about writing a catchy little 3-minute tune like the Beatles did, and have a killer video that goes with it and post it on YouTube and all the social networks, and just let it run. I mean, it seems like that's kind of the way to do it now.
That's how they're doing it, but the band can't actually make money till they hit the road, right? Because whoever's fronting that, right? You can't make any money till you tour.
Yeah.
It's changed.
Yeah. It's just a way to get music out there. And, if you're doing original music, I think it's hard to do. I mean, we had this discussion a week ago, didn't we? Or 2 weeks ago, right,
Yeah.
Pete? We were talking to Michael Tafoya, and we're talking about, hey, you're creating original music, and he's doing it. I mean, yeah, he's doing covers too, but he's really promoting the original stuff. And I think you just got to get out there and play and be in front of people and build an audience. I don't know how else you do it. I mean,
Yeah.
But Rhodes's got a point. I mean, take the monkeys, put them together, Boyce and Hart writing out, put it together, package it out there, and they were kicking the Beatles' ass, and it is a formula. But I guess where we started this conversation was the future of music, getting more kids to come out, because the old way of going to see a music teacher, one-on-one, and the kids not practicing, I don't know if that's going to get them to go on to the next level. I don't know what the motivator is going to be unless you're in with a group of people. Do you see how more kids are going to get into music, Rhodesy?
I think it's going to be kind of the lazy man's music, and what I mean by that is, working, say, in the automation type realm, AI is going to take over, and you see a lot of it. And I'm not saying these guys aren't talented or girls, but I've seen a lot of like solo musicians now, and they're doing looping. And they, basically they kind of bang on a conga a little bit. They play a guitar, maybe a violin, and they play maybe, 4 measures, or, no more than 6. And then they record it, and then they loop it, and they just start building a song. I remember that's how that girl who did Monkey Dance. Do you remember that song, Monkey Dance?
Uh-huh.
That's how that girl created that song. She looped it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, everybody loves to play an instrument, and there's just something that's cool about that to some people.
Well, it's a challenge, right? Because you run the risk of screwing up.
Yeah.
At least that's what I do every time I go on to play. Oh, nobody caught that.
Jeff Fite's gonna catch that.
Oh yeah, you get that look. Why do
I live in
drummers
a
hate
glass
basses
house. I
so
don't throw
much?
stones.
Rhodesy, where are you going to be playing? We're going to start winding up, and then Mike, where are you going to be playing at?
Why don't we start with Chris Rhodes? He's got some stuff coming up, and it's really interesting stuff. And we'll get some pictures and some
Yeah, send them
editorial
in.
stuff. Yeah,
Plus
we'll got some stuff to put on.
Plus all these names that you dropped. I don't know how to spell them.
I'll help you.
I'm telling you what, man, like I said, that's no joke. I am extremely lucky to be surrounded by some of the area's best drummers. I mean, like I said, it's truly a blessing, and I'm always learning from these guys. I think Jeff Fite probably gets a little creeped out when he sees me staring at him, but it's not I'm staring at him. I'm watching what he's doing. I'm learning, by watching.
For
But,
sure.
he's probably like, oh, this guy's creepy.
He tells me that.
Where
are you playing at?
I don't have much. We are doing it's the core show at the Broken Oar this Saturday. I think we're scheduled to play at 6:30 or 7. We're doing a benefit for our friend Tavo Paul. He recently had some surgery and has been out of work. So the core or the coterie, however you want to say it, core members are getting together, and hopefully we're going to be able to raise some money for Tavo and help, support his family, help pay the bills and that kind of stuff while he's incapacitated or can't go to work. So looking forward to doing that. And like I said, the coterie, Mike Dermott, Art Nunez, Mojo, Wolfgang, Dan Dillon, Doug Schoenbeck, and Frank.
Casey,
and then Robert Jess, which I can tell you a whole story about Robert Jess. He's just awesome.
we're gonna get him on here.
Yeah. You should. He's super talented. He might be one of the best I've ever seen. But so hopefully, we can raise some money for Tavo and his family, and at least just buy him some time while he heals.
Nice. Mike,
don't you have another one, Chris? Isn't there another one after that?
No, actually, unless the Mosquitos are going to hire me for something.
Well, you do.
Or Heart of Glass. One of the two. I am Jeff's personal backup now.
See, with Chris, he's going to always get called, and he's going to be in lots of different bands. He's got to learn, sometimes he's got to learn 10 songs. Sometimes he's got to learn 25 songs. Sometimes he knows some of those 25, sometimes he doesn't. But what makes him a great drummer is he's able to latch in and do it, whether it's country or whether it's rock or whether it's metal or R&B or reggae, whatever. He's able to get that. And that's why he's an in-demand drummer. That's what.
Well, yeah, before we forget, Rhodesy, people want to get you for a gig. How do they reach out to you, man?
You can find me on Facebook. I don't know. I guess, they can call me. I don't think I want to put my phone number in this podcast, but, actually.
You don't want any leads.
Yeah, right. It's funny, just real quick on Facebook. It's funny when you have like 2,000 friends or whatever it is, and you've actually probably only met about 30 people.
Right.
You know what?
So, I'm always looking for work. I don't know. Like I said, Facebook, Messenger is probably the best way to get a hold of me.
We'll put it right here.
Yeah. And you could reach out to me. I know how to get a hold of you.
Yeah.
So, gigs for me. We got Thursday with the Black Diamond sessions. And so that's always fun. The third Thursday of the month. And that's going to be at the Wooden Nickel in Highwood, 8 p.m. to 10:30, 11.
Okay.
And then on Saturday, we're going to be at Brothers Field in Long Grove, and that's going to be the Mosquitos playing with our friends Dead Fest.
Bring your bug spray.
What's that?
Bring your bug spray.
Bring your bug spray. Actually, it's on that other side. It's not as wooded area, so it's not quite as bad. But we got that on. They call it Freshie Fest because Freshie is the alcoholic drink that sponsors it, and that's from 6 p.m. till I think we go on at 6 till like 7:30, and then Dead Fest will go from 8 to like 11, and that's always a fun time. That's a neat place to be. So how about you, Pete? What do you got?
Friday, 9 p.m. Mickey Finn's Libertyville, Heart of Glass, bringing the disco. Disco never sucked, baby.
Nice.
Bring that disco ball right here.
All right.
You said that this Friday?
This Friday, 9 p.m., Libertyville, Mickey Finn's. Yes.
I'm gonna try to make that one for sure.
Hey, like Yoda says, there is no try, there's only do.
The only do. I know that one.
Chris Rhodes, man, thanks for hooking up with me and Mike on the show. Thank you, man.
No, great hanging with you guys, and hopefully we can do it again sometime.
Yeah, for sure.